Good morning, everybody. It's Father John here with a gospel reflection for the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. And Ordinary Time, the Lord gives us all of these good and challenging gospels. And today I just would like to reflect on this Sunday's gospel in light of vocation. So if you're a young adult, this video is probably especially for you. And if you know young adults, feel free to send this one to them. And high school too, I think this is something good for you to hear. So, okay, Jesus says, if anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Wow. So that is fairly difficult. And the ending of this gospel is also pretty strong. And worth some reflection, right? So Christ says, in the same way, any of you who does not renounce all of his possessions cannot be my disciple. Okay, so it does seem like Jesus is telling us all to become radical monks here, in which we give up all of our things. And obviously, if the church thought that this were the case, that this would be how the gospel should take root in everybody's life, we would all be living very differently. The church would look very different. So through many, many, many years of interpretation, the church has thought long and hard about what constitutes ways of living out Jesus's radical call to poverty. And one thing I just want to sit with today is this. Having a job binds you down in ways that you probably never thought. And having a family actually makes it sometimes very difficult to grow in this particular aspect of the spiritual life, this aspect of poverty, voluntary poverty, which can be freeing in many ways. I remember I was on a 30-day silent retreat, and I was about 20 days in, and I started praying really hard about my vocation in a particular way. And what the Lord was showing me was, okay, usually when we think about like priesthood or religious life or becoming a nun or whatever, we focus on the difficult aspects of that. We focus on like, okay, you can't have a wife, you can't have kids, you can't have stuff, you have to serve at somebody else's command, right? Like I was sent here by Archbishop Joe. And he could take me if he wants to. Archbishop Joe, if you're watching, please don't take me. I'm having a great time. But yeah, usually, okay, we focus on these kind of difficult, burdensome aspects of religious life. And yet, on the other hand, like what the Lord was showing me is how freeing it can be to live in a vocation for the Lord, priesthood or becoming a sister, and how burdensome it actually can be to be married. And I'm sure many of you know this, but having a family means that you need to get things, and you have to work hard, often in jobs that you don't like, often in jobs that are very binding and very obligating in all these ways that you never really expected. And I find that a lot of young people mainly focus on the negatives of vocation and not so much on the real and difficult burdens of married life. In a promise of simplicity of life, like I've taken, or even a vow of poverty, like those in religion take, that can be so freeing, especially in the spiritual life. Because, okay, when I would think as a younger kid, like, man, the only thing I'll ever own is all the stuff in my room. That sounded kind of sad. Like I don't get to own a house, And now I get to say all the things I own, the only things I really have to worry about that are mine, fit in my room, and I don't have to own my house. When I leave here, that'll be here for the next guy. And same thing goes for the church and, all of that. So there's just a real freedom that actually comes in poverty. And likewise, vice versa, there's a real burden in accepting the vocation, the natural vocation to the married life. And so for each of us, that just requires a basic discernment. So if you're married, I'm not saying you can't be holy. That's not the point. The point is that you have to discern really honestly, what do I need and what do I not need in my life? What does my family actually need? And And what might the Lord be calling me to give up, to live within our means, so to speak? And being honest with yourself about what those means actually are can be a really difficult thing. So I just encourage you to take some time to do that today. So if you're a discerner, my encouragement is consider that married life isn't necessarily what you think it might be. And if you are married, you already know that difficult lesson. But consider how the Lord might be calling you into the simplicity of life so that you can help others in need and grow in love of what God wants for you. We'll see you at Mass. Have a good one.